Welcome everyone to the Hyundai Palisade, and if you've been paying any little bit of attention towards this car, I'm sure you know that this is the replacement to the Santa Fe XL, their previous midsize three-row SUV, and its sister is the new Kia Telluride. Now, I've been able to experience the Kia Telluride in its top trim configuration, and here I'm not in the top trim version, so I'm not going to compare them apples to apples. Certainly apples to oranges though. When it comes to the interior and exterior design of the Palisade, it is different. The outside, much more noticeably so. But many of the crucial things that you find in the Kia, you'll find here, which led the Kia, in my books, to be one of the best in its class. So is the outcome going to be the same here for the Hyundai? Well, let's find out. Well, at the end of this video, I'll place it in my ranking system to see where it competes against the Telluride and other three-row midsize SUVs. And this video wouldn't be possible without the help of the Hyundai Gallery and the Gallery Group of Canada. Be sure to check out the link in the description down below, as well as the Gallery dealership locator across the country. So the Palisade and the Telluride, they have the same structure, the same engine, the same transmission, the same four-wheel drive system. The trims in Canada for the Telluride, there's only 3 for that vehicle, and for the Palisade, there's 4. I'm in the preferred trim, which is one step up from the base trim. The preferred trim will add the heated steering wheel, the 7-inch digital instrument cluster in between the 2 dials here, a lot of the safety systems that Hyundai's including in the majority of their vehicles, the lane keeping function, and the semi-autonomous driving mode that this car has is amongst one of the very best I've experienced in any car. You can let go of the steering wheel for what seems like quite a while, up to 2 minutes, Hyundai claims, whilst calmly keeping you in lane with none of that bouncing back and forth that a lot of lane keep assist systems will have. The lane keeping system is so impressive. I'm now gonna ask you to head over to my Instagram page, where I've just got one dedicated video seeing how long I could go with this system. If you move further up into the Palisade range, you'll have the leather appointed seats, the power tailgate, the larger 10.25-inch touchscreen, and then a full-size digital instrument cluster. I was able to look at it very briefly in a different vehicle, and it seems quite high resolution, near in the way to Audi's virtual cockpit. So that digital instrument cluster that you see can't be found at all in the Kia. And another thing that you can't find in the Kia is the automatic raising and stowing third row seating. There are paddle shifters behind the steering wheel, and they're made out of a dense plastic, so they feel actually high quality, but using them, they don't really provide much to the driving experience, and honestly, they barely listen to you anyways. Just leave this 8-speed transmission to its own devices, and you'll have very little to complain about. When it comes to the power, it's the same figures: 292 horsepower, 261 pound-feet of torque from the Palisade. And just going back on my memory of testing that Telluride about a month, 2 months ago, I really can't tell the difference from memory. Driving them back to back, will I notice much of a difference? I don't really think so. It can also tow up to 5,000 pounds. In the preferred, you'll get the self-leveling rear suspension system, and it's able to keep the car level, and you don't have that squatting look that many cars will have if they're towing something heavy. If you're buying a Telluride or a Palisade, I think it's largely coming down to what you think of the exterior and interior design. The conservative looks of the Kia, in my mind, actually look like a very American vehicle, but the Hyundai is very distinctively Korean in the way that the new Santa Fe and the Kona have that 3-split headlight kind of deal with the daytime running lights up top and the full cluster lower down into the bumper. I'm really into the design of the Palisade, but for me, the Kia lines up better to what I would consider a good-looking car. This is certainly daring and it's eye-catching, but to me it simply isn't as attractive. The top strip for the LED light is where the indicator is housed as well, and you can see that when you indicate, it very neatly cuts through the 2 sides of the orange indicators. With the TeleRide, I noted that for the rear indicators, they're separated from the main unit. Not the case here in the Palisade. The interior design, though, there isn't too much in between that I think would separate the Kia from the Hyundai here. Yes, the layout is different when it comes to interacting with your climate controls. You have a push button operated gear selector, whilst the Kia was a very traditional stick shifter. But here's one thing I really like. This dial that you use to alter between your driving modes and off-road modes in the Hyundai has a classy look. Altering between the different drive modes, you'll see them indicated in your digital instrument cluster. For sport, it goes red. For smart, it goes blue, eco green. And then pressing down to get over into the different terrain offers a different color selection in the corners as well. I imagine a lot of the videos you've been seeing so far of the Hyundai are in its top trim specification. So it's nice to see what the cloth seats, the smaller touchscreen, and a few other appointments in the lower trim model look like. And I will say that the cloth seats might be the most upmarket cloth I've ever come across. This isn't a stitched pattern, it is just kind of embossed into the seat, but it looks really good, very comfortable here in the front row. Cloth seats are often an indicator that you've gone for the lower spec model in a vehicle, but they don't feel cheap or that you're making a sacrifice over the leather seats that you could get in higher trim models. I think the biggest indication would be the touch screen here. The bezels along this one piece that stretches from one side of the instrument cluster all the way over the center of the dash is quite large, and having that larger screen would reduce that amount of black plastic. Second and third row seating, for me in the second row, absolutely nothing to complain about. Love the space back there. The seats can slide forwards and backwards and recline a little bit as well. And as standard, you have the one-touch operation to move the seats out of the way so children can very easily access the third row without help from mum or dad. And it truly isn't much of a sacrifice for me to get into the third row seats and stay back there for a little bit of time. Yeah, it's tight, but on a short trip to get in and out of town, if I'm loading this vehicle up to its full 8-passenger capability, I think I could do it. And that's another thing as well. The Palisade is a 7 or 8-seater configuration. Standard, it's 8. When you get to the top trim Ultimate, it's a fixed 7-seater configuration with the captain chairs for the middle row. On the luxury model, the second from the top, that version has the option to be a 7 or 8-seater. For the boot, you can hide away the security cover. There's a few things for me that edge the Hyundai's cabin design a little further ahead of the Kia for me. One of them is the selector wheel that you use to go between your different drive and terrain modes. Also, you have this storage space down here below, which is perfect for hiding away your handbag. And these cleverly engineered cup holders, this portion here, you slide it to fold away on the right hand side, hit down on the button, it quickly slides over so that you can hold any sort of water bottle or coffee cup. But the reason why this works so well is that you can hide that portion away and have a bigger space here to put something larger in there, and the cup holder can be taken away if it isn't needed. So which exterior and interior design is more appealing to you? Is it the Palisade with its quite striking outside looks, or the Kia's more conservative styling? I've cast my vote, now I want to hear yours. So that wraps up everything I wanted to say about the Hyundai Palisade. Just like the Kia TeleRide, this thing is a segment leader. So much space inside, a very upmarket feeling interior, despite the fact that I'm not in the top trim model. And with all of the technology that anybody in any kind of vehicle space is looking for, the Palisade is impressive. Maybe the looks aren't to my specific taste and I would end up with the TeleRide instead, but largely that's just my subjective view. So again, I want to hear which one would you rather have, go with the Kia or the Hyundai? That's been everything from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video. Please like it if you liked it and share it if you think other people will like it too. And if you want to do me the biggest favor in the world and hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 10,000 before the end of the summer. That really does the world for me. One more thanks has to go off to Hyundai Gallery. They were able to lend this Palisade off to me for a couple days so I could review it. All of their information is linked down below, as well as the Gallery dealership locator across Canada. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you again soon.